link to the show. We know.
Well, K-State survives 38-35. They did win the game, but it was ugly. It took last-minute heroics from Avery Johnson and company, and nobody's happy about much of anything after that game. So how hard will I rage against special teams? Will Cole show up? Is Cole alive? What insight does DY have to add? We'll find out coming up next here on 3 Mall. Welcome. John Kurtz, Derek Young with you live from the press box at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. I just got back from the press conference, at least Chris Kleiman's portion of that, as K-State wins 38-35 over North Dakota. Take that, Warhawks, sending them back with an L, DY.
Not the Warhawks.
Damn it. What is it?
Fighting Hawks.
The Fighting Hawks. All right, well, look, I disrespected them. Warhawks, Fighting Hawks. It doesn't matter because you're taking an L, all right? Yeah, look, Patrick, just trying to be positive. I'm trying to be positive here, okay? No, I'm just kidding. I was like even keeled last time, having to be the straight man to Cole, devolving into, just a complete and total void of rage and unhappiness. Today, I'm going to be a little bit more angry and upset because that was pretty awful. K-State probably should have lost that game at home to North Dakota, and there are all sorts of problems, not the least of which is a really bad special teams unit, guys. I know you're going to be shocked to hear that, but K-State special teams were not very good tonight, which calls for a toast of some Ben Holladay bottled in bond bourbon. I'm sure there was a lot of it drunk by a lot of you out there tonight. I hope you're all doing okay. I hope it tastes a little bit better, actually, with a K-State win at least. But make sure if you are going to drink responsibly tonight that you're doing it with Ben Holladay bottled in bond bourbon or 360 vodka from our friends at Holladay Distillery. Okay, man. Well, DY, I mean, they won. There were a couple moments where we did laugh audibly in the press box. The first one to me was when they had fallen behind. I think at that point it was 21-17, and that was when Bryce Normberg then took the ensuing kickoff, ran into a blocker, and fumbled the football. And it was like, all right, well, not only are things going horrendously poorly, but it's the special teams unit making a big mistake again. You laughed at another point. I can't remember which one that was.
It might have been the running into the punter.
I don't think it was that. It was an Avery throw, I feel like, at one point.
Oh, his second touchdown. They North Dakota literally caught it.
Maybe that one when Jerron Tibbs got his first touchdown by standing there and doing a juggling act. I mean, this game was like, just a weird game, man. There was so much weird that happened to this. I mean, K-State came out of the chute really lethargic. North Dakota led at halftime, looked like the better team in the first half. At one point there, late in the first half, North Dakota was running it for almost 8 yards a pop, and K-State was under 2 yards a carry. But then K-State came out for the first 10 minutes of the third quarter and looked like a totally different team, looked like this is how it was supposed to go. They grab a 10-point lead. They had the ball in a 10-point lead at one point, and then just crapped it all away. I mean, then it was gone, and they're down by 3, and North Dakota has the ball with like 4 minutes left. I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, I literally just asked Chris Kleiman at the press conference if he thought it was Ireland. He was sort of like, I know that there's going to be a hangover game somewhere. Hopefully this was it, but he didn't really like go totally into blaming it on that. So like, I don't know. I don't think anybody here, I can guess. I haven't even looked at the comments yet, but I'm going to guess none of you guys are here for just blaming all of that on Ireland. I don't think anyone wants that. So your thoughts, DY, big picture overall on what we just watched there.
I will say this. We can blame Ireland all we want. We can call that a one-off all we want. But I talked to you in the press box as this thing's unfolding, and I think you and I both have a tweet out there that says K-State's going to lose this game.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully they did not.
Reverse psychology, everybody. You are welcome. All right. I went to the Michael Scott School of Reverse Psychology, and I thought, well, I'm just going to tweet this because it sure feels like they're going to lose. And then if they don't, I'll look awesome. So you're welcome.
I did the same thing because I was actually convinced that there was not a doubt in my mind that they were going to lose that game. So, well, glad to be wrong. At the same time, this is not a one-off. So blame it on Ireland all you want. I don't really subscribe to that theory. Maybe, and if there is a hangover game, then you better hope that this is the one, which is something that Chris Kleiman said in his press conference. But boy, they lost at the end of the year last year to Arizona State, Houston, and Iowa State, 3 of the last 4 games. They had to come back from down multiple scores against Rutgers in the Rate Bowl because there was that point at the Rate Bowl, right, that we thought they were about to get run off the field too.
Yeah.
They lose to Iowa State and Ireland. We thought they were going to lose tonight at Bill Snyder Family Stadium to North Dakota. That is kind of I think in that 3 or 4, what was the win against Cincinnati last year?
They blew out Cincinnati.
So in that last 7 games, there's only one performance that you walk away with from feeling satisfied, and that was against Cincinnati.
Yeah, and even then at that point, that was a bad Cincinnati team, and
Oh,
everybody was like checked out kind of on the season because you knew Big 12 championship was likely out of the picture there. So yeah, it's just been a really unsatisfying stretch. The problem here is like you came into this, we were already saying nothing that happens for the next month is going to satisfy anybody short of I don't think there's anything. Even blowouts in any of these games, maybe you would have felt a little bit better, but it wouldn't have really proven much. Instead, this went the total opposite way. I mean, the whole thing, me and you, we've talked about this. We agree about it. Whether you want to say that the team needs more edge, whether you want to say that they're not very tough, I think all of that applies. This certainly gave you no indication that any of that is fixed. I mean, it doesn't mean that there aren't some moments, right away it goes through my head. Chris Kleiman was praising Avery Johnson for the last drive when he has the Jerron Tibbs drop on the first play, which could have been a huge play. And he did have the mental fortitude to regroup and drive down and still score. And okay, yes. But man, for the totality of that game, it sure didn't seem like a whole lot of toughness for the most part going on. No edge at all, no killer instinct. I mean, again, if you want to say there's an Ireland hangover at the beginning of the game, well, then you rebuild and you get a 10-point lead. And then where's your killer instinct to just bury North Dakota at that point? I mean, they don't have it in them to do that. So I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Iowa State beat a better FCS team today, 55-7.
Oh, crushed them. Crushed them. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like for anybody, and again, I will emphasize, Chris Kleiman did not really use Ireland as an excuse at all. He didn't have a lot of interest in doing that. But yeah, Iowa State just demolished South Dakota, a better FCS team. And I mean, Iowa State may well be really good, but we watched those two teams on the same field. It didn't look like Iowa State was demonstrably that much better than K-State. They had guys that I think were tougher and made plays when
they were just tougher and more physical. But,
yes.
But for the most part, I mean, those teams were pretty even. Yeah.
Yeah. So there shouldn't be like this wide of a variance in like what is happening here. Cause what are the rushing numbers from this game, man?
They didn't turned out not to be too bad.
143 yards for K-State, I guess 4.9 yards per carry. Yeah, but they were having to get creative. Like, so here's one of my things that was so annoying about the night is like they're having to get so creative to try and run the ball, which hey, look, whatever you got to do, but they don't have like just a traditional run. You can't just hand the ball to DJ Giddens anymore and have that work out. The offensive line was just getting totally whipped in the first half. They were not good. They were not effective. And when you don't have just a conventional running game, you're having to use a lot of motion. They're trying to get Joe Jackson out wide on like a jet sweep sort of thing. Lots of stuff with Devon Rice, which worked for a little period in the third quarter, which is nice, but you're having to get kind of gadgety. And then the other thing you're doing is you're throwing guys. If I had a dime for every time K-State ran some sort of 3 or 4 yard hitch or out or something short passing game that basically is designed to be a running game because you don't have a very good conventional ground game right now because the offensive line kind of sucks. It got so predictable where on the next to last drive, North Dakota's just sitting on that. And you pointed out Avery Johnson had some receivers deep he just wasn't looking at because he's thinking, hey, we're trying to get this little 3 or 4 yard hitch. And North Dakota's just sitting on that because they've seen it all game long because you're having to go to it and having to rely on it so much. So the offense is just really out of whack, man.
I thought Avery's decision-making was pretty poor. I thought his ball placement was pretty poor. I thought he missed some guys open. I think his stat sheet looks far better than how he actually played. You look at a stat sheet, I think it's going to say 65% completion.
There you go. It's right there. DY, why don't you read it off?
Yeah. Well, completed 65% of his passes for 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. The no interceptions is big, but guess what? It could have been like 5. Like he had 2 pick sixes back to back that he just got bailed out of in the first half for sure. I think I don't know. What do you think? I bet he threw 5 or 6 turnover-worthy plays.
Well, and then he had like a bobbled
fumble there
exchange. Yeah, that was a fumble that turns into another turnover-worthy play. So yeah, he got pretty fortunate there, and it seemed like
turnover luck was on his side.
It seemed like at times he reverted back to. I mean, a lot of the criticism I think last year was about just locking onto a first read and not really going through progressions, and that felt a lot like what we saw here tonight. Also a little frustrating. I think Cole, maybe it was you. I thought it was Cole was pointing out in our group chat after the game that Jace Brown was just like white hot early in the game.
That was me, yeah.
And then they just went away from it.
He had 6 catches for 81 yards in the first quarter. Now he still finished with 12 catches, but for 109 yards, I believe. So it means his last 6 catches were for 28 yards. So they weren't able to stretch him anymore.
And they went back to him a couple of times on like the last drive, and it was like, okay. We better get the ball to our biggest playmaker here at the end of the game. It just, felt like they could have done a better job at consistently trying to get it to him.
And on top of nearly losing to North Dakota, which is bad in itself, you figured out a way. I don't know how. I'm surprised that the game. At first, I was surprised that they let North Dakota play with them. And then I was surprised that they actually found a way and pulled that out to win because, like I said earlier, I thought they were toast. But something else that's starting to become funny is not the word, but here we go again. Is we thought that the hype for Jerron Tibbs was real, and it still may be. It's only 2 games, but boy, he's been kind of non-existent within the offense. He's got a few drops already now. Because I think he had a drop against Iowa State last week as well, had the big drop in the final drive here against North Dakota. And I was skeptical about Jerron Bradley, and so far he's been the more productive guy out of the 2. I
was going to say, Bradley right now I feel like looks like a more dynamic, better receiver. Tibbs just, there's nothing. Tibbs is not like popping off the page at me at all. You barely notice him. Honestly, until he dropped that. Obviously, he had the tip drill touchdown in the end zone, which credit him for that. But
I guess,
yeah. Well, and he was open on the play. Avery saw it late. Probably shouldn't have even thrown the ball. He gets away with it.
Late over the middle.
Kind of reminded me of the Noah Fafita throw last year for Arizona that he did not get away with.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll give Tibbs credit for getting open there, but I don't know. I really have not noticed him much at all, which I think is a bad thing, like a bad sign. You notice Bradley more. You obviously notice Jace, but. Like
you said, can't get a run game going. Offensive line I think they might have even regressed from last week because at least this week they couldn't pass protect either. Avery was under duress quite a bit. I will say, Avery, if I'm a team moving forward, when I play against Avery Johnson, I'm getting as much pressure on him as I can because it feels like he really wilts under pressure.
Yeah,
not under pressure of the game because obviously he did pretty good with the pressure of the game. Under pressure in the pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm K-State, I'm trying to roll him out as much as possible because it seemed like that good things are happening when he can roll out. So that continues to be a trend, and I thought that was true once again tonight. But yeah, it's a deceptive stat line for sure. They've got a lot of problems offensively. We haven't even really begun to touch defense, and you guys know I've got something for special teams. We may be able to get Cole on here. We shall see. He's going to try driving home from the game. I know there's been a lot of people. I'm seeing it in the comments right now. I had people just coming up to me on the concourse tonight people in the press conference doing like welfare checks on Cole. I have communicated with Vanessa, First Lady of Fremont, tonight. So, I mean, I do think that Cole is still alive and with us.
We also, I know we got to go to a break here. We need you to really lay into the special teams, like you said.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. Harambe. Thank you, Harambe. Let's get after our squawk producer. Just kidding. We love you, Nick. Okay, let's take a break, and we'll see if we can get Cole on. We'll continue on and trudge our way through this thing. All right, you're listening to Three Mall.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hey, look at that. All right, we're back. John and DY.
Looks like a hostage video.
Live at the stadium. Hostage, Cole Manbeck, who I presume is being driven home in a van by Nate Katzer against his will. Cole, let's make sure you're unmuted. But how are you? Oh, there's Vanessa. Hello, Vanessa. Cole, how are you feeling about this? First of all, like I said, welfare checks. People want to know that you're okay. So if you could first just confirm proof of life that you're doing all right.
1-1, back to 500. Let's go, Cats. Feeling good.
All right.
It's always better to win. It's better to win than lose, John. Feel better. Feel good.
You gotta get these out of your system early in the year. Good time for a close win. Good time for a close win. Refocus everybody before the stretch run of the season.
Absolutely. And if you want to paint a positive outlook, I mean, Bill Snyder had the game against Eastern Kentucky, right? In like 2011, where they had to hit a pass to win 10-7. There was a tight one against UMass on one of those good teams, right? So,
that was 2009, Cole. I don't know that team was good.
Oh, sorry. Okay, that team was not good. Okay, so I mean, look, I heard you guys sounding the alarm bells, but that's not me. I always am calm. I'm rational, and I did not get worked up at one point tonight. So everything's fine. Feeling good.
Cole, I will say, I actually do not think you were really that unhinged in the texts. Like you were not that bad tonight, which was kind of surprising. Although Vanessa did send me a picture of you like leaning up against the glass, like kind of you're close to the glass, like in the press box, and you're just like sort of leaning forward like this. And you did look very depressed in that moment.
I thought about it, but I stayed in and did not lean over. So everything was it was okay.
Yeah. Well, it's probably good you had your wife and kid there at least tonight. I mean, I feel like that helped a little bit. Remind you of why you live instead of just the 18 to 22-year-olds that were out on the field tonight. My favorite thing though, Cole, was I wasn't paying that much attention to my actual phone this time. I was getting more sucked into Twitter, which is probably a bad thing. But I hadn't seen you for a while, and someone in the Discord was like, is Cole alive? And this was after the game. I was sitting down in the press conference room, and I was like, oh, let me go see. So I pull up the text. The last thing you had sent, and this is where I was like, my MFing man. The last text you had sent said, way to give him an extra 10 yards on the kickoff. If you could have heard the things I was saying, there was a moment where I was like, John, you need to check yourself. I was so pissed at the special teams unit for not having a guy. They have to run a guy on to kick the extra point to go up by 3. They don't have and then they short the kick and let him run it to the 35 with 40 seconds left. I'm like, can they do one thing that is not on the margins hurting you? The special teams unit is so freaking bad, man. I don't understand
I think
how.
My most hilarious moment with special teams is actually, I think it was the first quarter.
Yes,
but North Dakota.
Let the people know about this.
North Dakota scores a touchdown, and they're kicking the extra point. All of a sudden, we see Cody Stuffle being run onto the field late for the field goal block team. And he was not even the 11th guy. He was the 10th guy.
They had 9. They
nine
lined up with 9 players originally for one of the extra points.
for field goal block. Yep.
Wow. Well, you know, Josh Uso running on the field for that extra point when it was 37-35. And don't think I didn't notice that and say that to everybody. I said, look at that. Didn't even have at the 6-yard line, about ready to score a touchdown. And the special teams coach didn't have his special teams unit ready to take the field for an extra point. So, look, I think this tweet may have went out tonight. I may have – my service was very iffy, so that's why people are probably doing wellness checks. But I do believe a tweet got out tonight from me that may have came at Nate Katzer a little bit. So I apologize for potentially asking Stanton Weber to get on a plane to Manhattan, Kansas immediately tonight to take over the special teams at Kansas State.
That tweet definitely got out there because I hit it with a retweet.
Shoot. All right.
Yeah, it's out there. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to, I don't want to be the guy out here like just calling for jobs and stuff. And I try not to mention the dude by name. I'm very empathetic to, like, I get it. It's tough. You deal with a lot of shit from fans. And so I try not to go that route, but it's like, I also try to spell out like how bad they are in every single phase. Like they set themselves back constantly on special teams constantly. And it's like little things like that, like organizational. And so I will tell you this from the press conference. I don't know how many people in the chat were listening to that, but Tim Fitzgerald got the mic to ask about special teams before I did. And he said, hey, there were a couple big mistakes again on special teams. Like, what's going on there? And Kleiman said, well, first one, guy fumbles the ball. We got to fix that. We got to hang on to the ball. And then he said, and the second one that's like I can't remember if he said like mental or execution error, but then that was the running into the kicker penalty that extended a drive. And he was like, in the second one, that's like you could tell he was frustrated by it. He's like, that's a mental error. Got to fix it. And then just stopped. And like, that was it. So there wasn't like, and I thought, like, okay, I could follow up and be like, hey, you also had 9 guys on the field at one point for it. But like, he did not look like that was something he wanted to talk about. I'm just a guy who shows up a couple Saturdays a year. I'm not like on the beat in there all the time. So you guys can call me soft if you want. I didn't feel like it was the time or place to come in with a detailed, going at it with a Monday. That would have been similar to, my good old moment with Bill once upon a time. I didn't really want to do that tonight, but it's very, 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 very bad. Very bad. I don't know how many times I can say that all these little things just consistently go wrong. I mean, they should have been hurt by the fact that the time that you like flub a kickoff is with 42 seconds left when you desperately need a stop to keep them out of field goal range. Like, it didn't hurt them, but stuff like that, when you're not playing North Dakota, is going to come back to bite you in the ass. Like, it will hurt them. Luis Rodriguez looked good. Luis Rodriguez looks good. There's a nice thing.
So it's like last year because Chris Tennant looked good. So they didn't really help things. And we're getting to the point where, one, they're getting lucky that it's not hurting them more. They have a muff punt and a fumble kickoff return, and neither hurt them. So they're freaking lucky.
That's a good point.
For that. And they're getting to the point where the errors are so significant, it's costing them like actual points. It's not like just the margins here. You run into the punter, you go from a defensive stop to giving up a touchdown.
Yeah. All right. Looks like Cole's out. His connection was it was looking pretty shaky there for a little while. So we got him in for a little bit. All right, guys, you got your welfare check on Cole. We appreciate Cole for
maybe take some
hanging out there.
questions from the chat after a break or something?
Yeah, we can. Well, DY, we haven't even really talked about the defense. I'm going to make that the top storyline here after we do.
Oh, I forgot.
After we do hit a break, I forgot I had something else I was going to say about
Special
team. Oh, yes. With the punting situation, I was going to go look at what the stats were tonight because North Dakota's punter was a dude, man. That guy was smashing the ball.
Yeah, we need to make a trade.
Smash it. Well, someone just said tamper. Let's go tamper this guy.
No, I have to make a trade because we need him now.
Silvernail. He averaged 45 yards a punt. He had one inside the 20, and he had one that was 53 yards. Now, it does look like McClendon was at 41.8 tonight, so that's improvement. But, man, it's just like, yeah, you watch North Dakota State special teams, and they're immediately better. They are much better at special teams. And that was a first-year coach at North Dakota, by the way. First-year coach, a lot new, and I know people will not want to hear this. I will just say, when I was in the restroom at halftime, I was listening to the radio broadcast, and Stan was talking about how, hey, this is a great time to make adjustments at halftime because it's a first-year coach with a bunch of new players. They probably didn't really know what they were going to do. It was week 1 for North Dakota. They didn't have film. Nobody wants to hear that. I'm sure that was at least a little bit of a contributing factor. But I don't know. Look, I guess we can. Well,
they did play good for 5 minutes after halftime.
Yeah, maybe more like 10. I mean, there was a nice, there's like 4 or 5 drives in a row where things looked like they probably should have. But that was
the Devon Rice scores.
Yeah, that was, we'll always have that Devon Rice time where all felt right with the world. Real quick on that before we break and get to the defense. Do you think Devon Rice, is he at this point, is he RB2 overall / right now RB1 because you don't have Dylan Edwards?
Yeah, or you mean is there
has he usurped Joe Jackson?
Joe Jackson?
Yeah, has he taken over Joe Jackson? Would you rather see him get the first carries?
I don't know yet. I probably not. I mean, he's become pretty productive. Well, he was pretty productive in that time period that we're referring to. He probably has more negative runs than I'd like to see. It feels like he kind of likes to bounce things sometimes too much. Maybe more of a risk. Joe Jackson, though, yeah, you'd like to get a little bit more pop from him than what you are, but how much of that is the offensive line? Like you said, conventional running game is just not there.
Offensive line, before we leave the offense behind, I feel like they've gotten a bit of a pass here. We mentioned them at the beginning of the game that they're really struggling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to think there. You have a new, this is one of those things, everybody was very excited to move on from Connor Riley at offensive coordinator, but you did lose him as an offensive line coach, and it still is feeling like some of the same issues there from a play calling standpoint are sort of there. I don't know. It's hard to tell if it's improved much. Feels kind of similar, and now the offensive line seems to be worse. So my question was, did you swap out guys who are going to be relatively similar play callers and then lose the juice that Connor Riley had as an offensive line coach? Whether you thought he was great or at least just good, I think it's fair to say he was at least a good offensive line coach, maybe great. And right now you kind of wish that you had that instead of a first-year O-line coach at this level, at least, who's trying to find his way there.
It's a fair conversation. I need to go back and just like I did with the first week and kind of look at what went wrong, what went awry, if there was someone still playing well. Like last week, we're like, at least you have the left side of the offensive line that looked pretty fine. I'm guessing that wasn't the case this week. I mean, Taylor Portier got pulled at one point, and maybe that was just a plan to give guys a breath here and there, but he didn't get pulled at all last week. And this is anecdotal. You have to kind of rewatch offensive line play more than anything. It's hard to kind of see on a whim, but I thought it was interesting, and I guess I don't know if bizarre is the right word, but Terrence Enos goes down, Gus Hawkins comes in, and that was when they marched right down the field after halftime, right? One of those, and they score right away with Devon Rice.
Yeah,
and then next thing you know, I mean, he's out again, Gus Hawkins, when he goes in. So I was just like, man, I wouldn't have messed with that. You just scored.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to do their rotation. I don't know. I guess I don't know. That's it. They'll say keep guys fresh. I mean, there was a lot of talk last week. Yeah, it was last week, right? Seems like a lifetime ago.
Everything
Last week,
goes.
there was a lot of talk about like, hey, we wore down, and so we played a couple guys too many snaps, and so that it's part of it is just their general philosophy, and they're probably going to stick to it more times than not. But yeah, I understand some of the frustration there, man. It just, I don't know. I really thought it was like JB Nelson. I was so excited about that. I thought that he was going to be a dude. He didn't even start today. He got pushed back to the number 2 unit.
Yeah.
Pastore was great last week. We'll see, I guess, what it looked like this week. Obviously, I know that they're dealing with George Fitzpatrick being out, and hopefully that will remedy some things when he comes back later on this year. But yeah, if they can't run the ball better than this, I mean, they're going to be in some real big trouble as we move forward this season. So, I don't know. Army, I don't. We can table the Army discussion, I guess, a little bit. I don't know what to think of them. They lost to Tarleton State yesterday. I would have thought on the face that they would be a little more physical and tougher to deal with, perhaps in the running game. Maybe not. Maybe North Dakota's pretty good. I don't know.
I'm exasperated.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Wow, Harambe actually says that he thought the play calling today was all right. Well, Harambe, to your point, it's like, what can you do if there's no real conventional running game, and Avery sometimes struggles with these like short throws to get the short stuff going if you're trying to use that as an extension of the running game. I understand. And then you still got receivers dropping passes. There are a lot of problems there. But defensively, man, I mean, I think of all the things,
defense was worse.
Of all the things, I think defense is the most alarming piece of this. So we'll take a break, come back, talk about that defense that got shoved around by what was a 5-7 FCS team last year
Under a first-time head coach.
What's good, everybody? It is Benny Heiss, KCSN betting analyst, and I just want to let you all know that it's okay. You can take a slow, deep breath. Inhale and breathe out with one word: football. You feeling it? Yeah? Did you take that in? That sweet, sweet scent of grass and pigskin in? I'm ready. I hope you're ready too, because we're going to have an absolutely awesome season once again together. And especially for all of you in the state of Missouri, get your popcorn, get your phones ready, because the wait is almost over. You can taste it. It's coming, people. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming. You say, show me? I say state. Later this football season, everything that you love about playing on DraftKings Sportsbook, sides, totals, spreads, props, same-game parlays, you name it, DraftKings Sportsbook is going to elevate your already great game day experience here with KCSN. And even if you don't get in by kickoff, no sweat, besides the promos on DraftKings that they offer as well, there is live in-game betting, payouts, faster than Xavier Worthy hauling down a bomb from 15 on the sidelines, all right from the comfort of your phone, wherever, whenever. You'll be betting with a top-rated sportsbook that is safe, secure, and trusted by millions of Americans across the country. Now, here's what you do. Follow your guy. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Be sure to use code KCSN as you get ready for sports betting to launch here in the state of Missouri. You're going to be the first in line for exclusive promos, can't miss offers, much, much more. It's code KCSN. That is KCSN in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements.
Okay, we'll make this the top storyline of the week, which is brought to you by our good friends at Alenco, ALENCO home.com for all your home improvement needs. That's ALENCO home.com. Shout out to the guys at Alenco. The defense was bad, man. The defense got pushed around in this game. North Dakota, their quarterback was making plays. Chris Kleiman, you know how you know that the defense was the worst thing tonight? That was the one thing that got a pretty even keel, typically, Chris Kleiman in the postgame press conference. That was what he was crushing, was eye discipline on defense. He went on and on. He gave, I'm trying to remember what like word he was using. If he said it was like
Awful.
really bad, awful. Yeah, he said awful like 4 or 5 times about the eye discipline and went on a long answer about that. So you don't get Chris Kleiman being like overly negative about things very often. He was very, very negative about that. And then he was very definitive about, hey, me and Klanderman are going to get this fixed. We're going to get this fixed. Like that's kind of how he closed the end. He was fired up about that. So he is not happy what happened with the defense tonight. I'm actually a little shocked to see it was only 102 rushing yards for North Dakota, but man, 252 passing yards. I mean, it felt like K-State's defensive backs were not doing a great job for much of the night. Like I said, the quarterback was making plays, scrambling, getting loose. There is not much that has been very encouraging about the defense in the last 6 quarters of football that they have played.
No, they really can't cover anyone right now.
No.
So in the game of football, it's pretty important.
Yeah, in 2025, if this were 1925, you might be okay.
Yeah, no, they're shitty.
Well, I mean,
They're
do we have any further analysis about what's –
They can't cover anyone, and their only option is to get pressure on the quarterback. When they don't do that, they're screwed.
Yeah, and the funny part, we were remarking at this. Shout out to the Discord, patreon.com/3mob if you want to sign up for that. The Discord has not always been a big fan of Cody Stufflebean, but Cody Stufflebean did make a couple of big plays when they really needed him tonight.
In a night where the give a shit factor seemed to be lacking, he was one of the guys with the give a shit factor. Maybe Quay Moss too. Thought those two.
Yeah,
probably.
But even then, there were a couple times where like Quay Moss was getting beat by a step or two.
Beat to the boundary.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Quay Moss seems like he cares and plays with more effort than a lot of the.
I think he's going to be. They got to get everybody right, but I think he's closer to being right than a lot of them. So
yeah,
I'll actually quote the great Chris Nelson, like. Because I was thinking what he was thinking when it came to the last drive. Avery scores. There's 47 seconds left, and he said, "Okay, we're just going to blitz everyone and cover no one." I was actually afraid of that. But to their credit, I don't think they blitzed a lot in that fun draft. They played a lot of coverage.
I think Nelly also said our social teams were very bad tonight.
Social teams, yeah.
We love you, Nelly. Ryan, that was a good question that Nick put up on the screen a second ago. Like, do we attribute any of this to like them going to a 4-man front all of a sudden? Especially because, I know Klanderman talked this week about it being personnel based, and they thought they had all this depth and good players on the defensive line. They didn't want them on the sideline. But now, you have played 2 games now without Ryan Davis, who they were talking up like he was their best defensive lineman. They haven't had him. Now maybe that's, some of it that hurts your depth and you lose.
Cole's been posting in here, spamming the chat here. So maybe the 4-2-5 was a bad idea. The 3-3-5 wasn't a great idea last year either. I mean, the defense was pretty. I mean, not as a whole like this, but like we complained and whined about the secondary last year.
Yeah. Well, so Cole says our run fits in the 4-2-5 have been awful. I mean, I will say I don't remember as many just totally untouched lanes that just seem like weird almost. That the last touchdown that North Dakota scored, you watch the play unfold and you're like, how did that work out that guy just flew through there untouched? And maybe some of that is the eye discipline stuff that Kleiman's talking about, but I think it ain't working.
I think he's saying, and it's a combination of what Cole and Kleiman saying, the run fits. They're doing all these trade shifts and motions to try to mess with your eyes. So it's screwing up and they're not assessing it, diagnosing it correctly. And then you get out of your run fit, boom, and you got an untouched touchdown run. I mean, really, that was kind of the culprit. And this is what makes tonight even more despicable to me, is like you were losing at halftime and you lost. You were completely trending downward. You come out at halftime, just a house of fire, score quick twice, right? And go up 10 and you get the ball back. You're up 10 with the ball and you still let North Dakota basically lead almost the entire half because you let that completely wilt away. Like, it's bad enough that you about lost to North Dakota, but you had it was almost the end of the third quarter. You had a 10-point lead with the ball.
Yeah. They again,
That was the time. That was the point where I think every other competent, or a typical competent P4 program, puts the foot on the neck and runs away from a team at that point, even if you are having your hangover game.
that's what killer instinct edge. Like that's where we talk about that being a real issue, for sure. Okay. Well, I mean, from here, really, I would just say it's, any discussion about, because I know that when things go poorly, everybody starts talking about, man, like, are we going to lose to Kansas? Like, this team's going to win 3 games this year, this, on and on and on and on. You can play that game as much as you want right now. I don't have a whole lot of, they need to focus on, and I know this is what they will say they focus on all the time, but they need to focus on tomorrow. They need to focus on Army. They need to focus on, like, someone in the Discord at one point said, like, man, I don't think this team's a top 25 team playing like this or something. And I was like, give me the Jim Mora, like, top 25. I just hope we can win a game. Like, I mean, that's where this team's at right now. So, like, I don't know what they can become. I mean, it seems like in a lot of places they have a reasonable amount of talent relative to the Big 12. I don't know, guys, what they can become, but that is not the focus right now. They just got to get back to work and fix some things so that they can go beat Army and just see what sort of building blocks you can lay the rest of the year. Any of this big picture thinking stuff, it's done right now.
No, I agree. But what I will say is I don't know that I would technically say that the ceiling is really changed a whole lot. I just think we've been confronted with the reality that the floor is much lower than we thought.
Yeah, I would agree
because,
with that.
Like, I don't trust this team at all to even make next week against
anybody.
Army comfortable. Yeah, I don't think I wasn't sure it was going to be comfortable to begin with before the year, just because it's the way they play. But even after Army lost to an FCS team themselves, Tarleton State, I still, if that game is a 3, if K-State were to go and win by 3 scores next week, I'd probably be surprised.
I don't know that I would be surprised, but I would say, like, nothing next week would really surprise me. I don't, because it's such a, you're so spot on with, like, I just don't trust this team with much of anything right now to handle much of anything, because it's not just this year. Like you said, it's going back to last year where things started with the Houston game. And so it's like bad Big 12 teams, like, hey, UCF at home. I don't know. I had a UCF fan in my mentions.
Got to go to Arizona.
I had a UCF fan in my mentions who, like, popped off and was like, hey, that Jacksonville State win doesn't seem so bad now, does it? I was like, well, yeah, fair point. I mean, I don't trust them to do any of that stuff right now, and I really didn't last year. But knowing that sometimes they do have a really high gear, like what they hit in the second half of the Rate Bowl, that they can ratchet up to. But I mean, that's the other look.
How much is the Dylan Edwards loss?
I was just gonna say they got to get Dylan Edwards back. They got to get Dylan Edwards back because they need a more explosive, experienced running back, and he is. I mean, we saw it last year. Like, he is better between the tackles than I think a lot of people think or give him credit for a lot of times. So I think he could really help a lot because, to be honest, like, I don't know, man. Joe Jackson just isn't really doing it for me right now. If he's spelling a guy who's a elite, like, really good Division I running back, that's one thing. Being the guy that's trying to lead the charge. And Devon Rice is nice and provides a little bit of a spark, but he's just young and small right now. So things don't look very good in that backfield. They need to become more dynamic there. I'm sure that will help out. But yeah. So yes, to answer your question, yes, I do think the Dylan Edwards thing is hurting them right now. Fair point, Ken. The floor of the league is also lower. It has not been a very good week for the Big 12, particularly Baylor. They were, like, close-ish to Auburn, but Auburn really controlled that game.
Yeah.
Colorado missed an opportunity. Frankly, I thought, like, Colorado was probably ahead of where I thought they'd be. I think Georgia Tech is pretty good, but disappointing that they didn't cross the finish line. Same deal with Cincinnati.
Baylor never threatened.
But it's like, you have the K-State result here. Utah, although people are telling me, I haven't seen any of it. You just looked at scores. Is Utah walloping UCLA?
Up by 2 scores.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. Utah beating a team out of the Big Ten would be nice. Texas Tech, they played Pine Bluff tonight.
They were in a delay.
So I'm not trying to overreact to Pine Bluff, but like I watched a little bit of that game. I mean, they were up by like 40 midway through the second quarter. I mean, it looked like men among boys. Like it looked as good as you could have possibly asked in a game against Arkansas Pine Bluff week 1 for Texas Tech. So maybe they are truly going to be the real portal heroes with the roster that they put together. But yes, I think it is a fair statement to say the floor of the league does look like it could be lower after what we saw today. And K-State contributed a hell of a lot to that. So
I guess if I'm going to go glass half full, and it's really hard to freaking do that, is like at least as you are trying to get right, and I would say they are in the mode of where they are trying to get right, and they are far from getting right. This is the part of the schedule you'd like to be doing it because you play North Dakota, Army, Arizona, and UCF, probably the 4 worst teams on your schedule, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, unless Arizona is going to suddenly jump up. Have they kicked off yet? They're playing Hawaii tonight, I think. What is Arizona doing against Hawaii? Give me an Arizona-Hawaii update, please.
I'm not sure they've kicked off. Oh, yeah, they have. Arizona's up 17-6 at halftime.
Okay. All right. Hey.
Not terrible.
Hey. Yeah.
It's all right. Solid.
Take that, YouTube kicker.
But I still think, like, if you think about who else K-State plays after UCF, like, I'm trying to think, is there a team that's better than Arizona or worse than Arizona? Oklahoma State, maybe. Yeah.
Depends on what you think of Oklahoma State. They will probably have Haas Heine back then. Yes, alternate unis.
Hey, they're 2-8. Hey, they've won the last 2 alternate uni games. The rate bowl.
Yeah, you're right. All right, wear them all the time. I don't know. I'm so over the uniform, but like they start playing like that, like whatever. This is where I guess I turn into an old, which I am becoming an old very fast here, but I don't care what you wear. Play better than that. Like I don't care.
Wait, did Cole hit a skunk?
Yeah, he said Vanessa ran over a skunk.
Oh.
Yeah, which he said was on brand for today.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm pretty proud of Cole. Like, kept a pretty good attitude. Now he's keeping it locked up for the family while Vanessa's hitting skunks on the way home. I think we all got to give Cole, they say the biggest growth for a team comes between week 1 and week 2.
Well,
for Cole, I think between week 0 and week 1, we have seen the biggest growth and development out of our guy.
Well, for K-State, it's between the first and second game, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, first and second game. Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm not sure K-State did that, though.
Well, Cole did. I just wanted to point out that Cole did. We saw that. He played to the stereotype on that. We are very proud of that.
It's like it started to rain.
Yeah, it's definitely raining. G-Brew says technically it was an alternate uniform in Dublin, and they did lose that. So, I don't know.
A striped helmet?
A Scott Wildcat would count that as a different helmet, different uniform. That'll pop up on a trivia question at some point. So I'm just preparing you for that.
I've really just been wanting to just drop so many F-bombs on the show, and I've held back from doing it. So
okay,
I just want to pat myself on the back.
Well, if I would have done it, it would have been during the special team segment, but I didn't do that either. So you know what? We're all very mature here tonight.
Do you think we're going to be having a similar conversation a week from now after they play Army? It's bold. You got to go. Give me an answer. Yes or no?
Well, I don't think it's bold. No, I would say no. I think it will be. I don't think it'll be anything that it like knocks your socks off, but I think it will go better against Army than it did this week. Yes, I do.
I think it might be a dogfight against Army. I don't trust this team right now.
I think they'll win by 2 or 3 scores, but
I hope the hell you're right.
But I don't think that's like, I mean, that could be.
No, that is impressive considering how many possessions are in a game against Army.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. All right. 10-14. I would say next week, 10-14.
Oh, I thought you were saying that's the final score. I was
no,
like,
no. 10-14 point win is what I would say right now if you pin me down on it.
Well,
I think you take away whatever's going on with jet lag in Ireland, Kleiman getting lighten them up this week. Hopefully, I think they'll be a little better.
Maybe it's good that they'll face a team that doesn't really pass. I know Army passes it more than usual, but
you're right. Good point. For secondary, it doesn't even matter. Hey, I thought Malcolm Crowder flashed a couple times tonight.
I thought some of the defensive backs actually took a step back this week. Like I was disappointed in Donovan McIntosh, and I thought I don't even think he played much in the second half. I think he got
Yeah, I think you are right about that. I was noticing a lot of other,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like we saw Justice Clemens, Marion Fortenberry started
Yeah,
playing.
Fortenberry was in there. Yeah. Tom Terrible, 24-14. I would take that right now, Tom. If you gave me that, I would take it and run.
24-14.
Take it and run to a Friday against Arizona. Yeah.
That could be a dogfight.
Yeah.
You could just say K-State scores a minute left. That's kind of a dogfight.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, Cole, Vanessa, Brody, get home safely. Everybody out there, if you're driving back right now, get home safely. Great to chat with everybody here tonight. Thank you to our good friends at Holladay Distillery. Thank you to our friends at Alenco, ALENCO home.com. If you need any home improvement changes in your life, I just redid my office and it was it's made a big difference. So whatever it is that you're trying to do, alencohome.com. Thanks, guys. Take care. Appreciate Nick behind the scenes. For Cole and DY, I am John. We'll talk to you again very soon on 3 Months.